Hello everybody, welcome to a belated afternoon game drive. I'm very sorry that you've had to miss the first hour and a bit. That is just simply a function of the fact that we had to get through our dress rehearsal for our national broadcast in North America tomorrow morning, or for you guys in North America this evening at 12 o'clock Eastern Time, and you can work it out from there if you happen to be operating on Central Time, Mountain Time or Pacific Time. It's all rather too confusing for me. So, a little recap of the afternoon. Peter is out as well. He's with Viam. I'm with the inimitable Brian. Hello, Brian.
Hello, Jim.
Yes. And also out is Brent Leo Smith on foot with Jean-Dre and his rapidly growing locks and beard. And the drone is out with the drone commander, Andrew, and his faithful sidekick, Jamie. I'll tell you what we've seen so far today. We've seen lots of elephants and a few buffalo, and so that's what we're basically going to look for now. And I can give you an update on Tingana and Karula. They are off in Simbambili, unfortunately. No, sorry, in Arathusa. Their tracks were found today, but they themselves were not. So that's a bit sad. We're heading up this way because the wild dog tracks that we were following this morning that headed off into Simbambili, I'm hoping that they're going to turn on and come back towards Buffelshoek, at least not Buffelshoek, back towards Sydney's Dam, which is in Buffelshoek, hopefully on the hunt for something delicious to eat. It's been a hot-ish day, not very hot, only 82 degrees Fahrenheit, 28 degrees centigrade, depending on how you operate. And so the elephants have been drinking, the buffaloes have been wallowing, but I do think that the dogs might get going a little bit earlier than they do normally at this time of the year because the temperature hasn't been that warm. So that's where we are. Please remember, we love to hear from you. Hashtag Safari Live, questions at WildEarthTV.tv if you want to talk to us. And remember, you can watch the show no matter where you are in the world tomorrow on www.wildsafarilive.com. Okay. We're going to go across to the substantial figure of Brent Leo Smith and the almost as substantial figure of Jean-Dre. Now, for sensitive viewers, this is going to be, well, I won't say disturbing, I might say slightly sickening. It's going to be worth looking at, though. He's with a catfish, and this catfish is in a state of great rotting. So maybe cover your noses as you go across to Brent Leo Smith and the walk.
Hello everyone, and welcome on the sunset bushwalk. And obviously it's quite a disturbing thing we're looking at here. So we're right in the Djuma waterhole at the moment, and that we've been watching as it dries up. And oh, there we go. So even though the top layer of catfish are right, and some of them might survive by cocooning themselves in this mud, but I think a lot of them are going to, sorry, Jean-Dre is sinking and he's trying not to fall into the catfish. I'm just going to have to give him a hand. Sorry, he's sinking into the mud. There we go. That would have been very unpleasant for him. But it's a really fascinating thing we're looking at here. And even though the bush is so green at the moment, I've been saying we had that very early rain, but it's still definitely going to be a very dry season in my opinion. And as you can see, we should be 3 meters in the water at the moment, but alas, we are in a bone dry area. And it's incredible that some of these catfish are still breathing, and you can see them moving and you can hear them. This one over here is still alive, that one over there is still alive, and that one over there is still alive. And every now and then they just gasp for air. It's very, very difficult to watch. But as you saw with I'm pretty sure a lot of the predators might start taking a chance with this. I know you guys who watch the Djuma Dam cam behind me would have seen the hyena take advantage of this, and you might find them do it again. But it is very, very smelly. Very, very interesting that a lot of the birds haven't come after them, but hopefully you guys who watch the Djuma Dam cam are going to see some, woof, the wind just changed direction. Quite spectacular stuff. I'm hoping those hyenas come back again. So while we're going to move now into this drainage line that runs and see what, behind the dam, see what else we can find, we're going to cross across to Peter so he can say hello.
Well guys, I first just want to stop quickly and say hello and very good afternoon to you. Welcome on the safari. It is sunset time, it is beautiful in the bush. There's been good elephant around, good buffalo around, but I'm heading at the moment, which is why I stopped, towards Buffelshoek Dam. I'm just concerned about the dip up ahead in terms of signals. I just wanted to say hello and thank you so much for your patience with missing out on some of the drives, and even more so, thank you so much for your understanding, because we are excited. There's some good stuff ahead of us. Looking forward to tomorrow.
Hello everybody, we're back again. We're back. Here we are, back again. We have come to the north, the great deal of the far north, and we are going to go south. Well, you can only go south if you're as far north as you can go. And we're going to attempt to find tracks of the wild dogs, with any luck, returning. Come on, 1 second. Hold your horses. No. There were some old lion tracks. I thought they might be new, but they're not. They've been driven over, stood on, and basically disheveled by the wind and various other things. So we're going to head south now down this road. It's a fairly main access road, which isn't the best looking, but it is a boundary with Arathusa, where we traverse there. That's 600 hectares, 900 hectares of Djuma, and I'm rather hoping that the dogs will come back across here as they do their evening hunt. Wild dogs will normally hunt twice a day, morning and afternoon. In this particular area, normally for something like an impala or perhaps a steenbok, there's a small pack of adults, 3 of them, and they're trying to feed 11 pups, so they have to kill pretty often. The pups are now moving with the pack except when they're hunting, so they're not in the den anymore. They're about 3.5 to 4 months old, and so they're moving with the pack, but they're pretty useless as far as hunting goes at the moment. Quickly across to Brent. He seems to have found a lepidopterid. No, that's the wrong word. Anyway, a moth. We'll take you across to him. I'll see you just now.
Welcome back. We can see Jandre has been showing you a really, really beautiful little creature that looks like a butterfly, but it's not. It is a daylight moth. They're known as bonnets or foresters. So he looks like a butterfly, but if we look, you see the end of his antennae are still quite fluffy, and that's what gives him away as a moth. And he's feeding off a num-num bush, and it is a very nice place to be after being next to those catfish. This incredibly sweet smell, very similar to jasmine. I was even considering just taking a few flowers and just popping them in my nose for a while just to get rid of that remnant of that catfish smell. But really, really beautiful tree, and you can see very well defended. The Latin name of this bush, the second part of it is bispinosa, and that's very important. We're going to have a look. If we have a look here at, it's not actually thorns that it has, it is that one. That's the one I want. Not on all of them, but on quite a lot of them. So bispinosa, you see how it forks twice. So bispines, basically just the old Greek for 2 spines at the end of every branch. So there we go. Really, really wonderful. Really, really sharp. The reason it's called a num-num bush, if you get pricked by it, you do get quite a numb sensation around there, but it becomes very irritating and itchy after a while. And there we go. But standing downwind of it, a real treat after being close to those catfish. And we're going to move a little bit further down the drainage line. And while we do that, apparently we have a catfish question. Well, Leslie's asking us a very interesting question, and Leslie's from sunny California. Leslie is asking when and if all those catfish die and the rains come later, well, how will this dam be restocked? Well, Leslie, I'm sure there's quite a few bigger ones and even some smaller ones that have managed to get under that mud and actually cocooned. So they will secrete a mucus and leave a little breathing hole, and they are able to survive in that mud for quite a long time. And even if it becomes so dry that even those ones cocooned in the mud don't survive, the way these fish move, they actually can walk over land for up to 3-4 kilometers between different water holes and rivers. And the other way is around the wading bird's legs. So their eggs will get caught around the feet of a heron or a goose. And when they move between different water holes, they'll spread that, and that's how the dams will become restocked. Thanks very much for that, Leslie. Really interesting question, and it's amazing how these animals manage to look after themselves. So we are now going to continue walking down the drainage line, and we're going to cross across to James. I'm sure he's going to be entertaining you shortly.
Oh guys, I just love this time of the afternoon. Golden hour approaching. Look at that lovely, stunning light. We are just close to Buffelshoek Dam here, and we decided, let me just try duck underneath there for you. We decided to start with this giraffe. Beautiful big bull. He is of course deciding to hide behind the branch, so if he doesn't move in the next minute, I'll move. Nah, minute's a long time, let's move. We can see him better. I was hoping he'd walk down the road, that's what he was doing, he was heading this way. But a giraffe can sometimes just go into this like sort of like zoned out state almost, so they can just stand there for minutes at end. So let's do this. Nice big male. A few oxpeckers on him as well. Sorry, I mean as well. You went with us earlier, but we had an amazing time with oxpeckers earlier on a buffalo. Oxpeckers are those little birds sitting on his shoulder, on his base of his neck. But as I said, late afternoon now. Beautiful soft golden light approaching. Birds calling in the background. Gotta love this, Got to love Africa. Yeah. Oh, stunning. Well, that's an interesting bit of information there. Thank you very much, Chris, letting us know that during the night you saw a civet taking one of those catfish that Brent was showing you for its dinner. A few things have eagles and storks, hyenas. Put it this way, anything with half a nose that eats that kind of stuff would smell it from a mile or 10 miles downwind. It's a very, very strong smell. I drove past Brent and Jean-Ray there when they were looking at those catfish before they showed you, and they were pulling up their noses. It's a rough smell. Of course, many catfish would have been hiding under the mud by then. It's only the last few that got caught unawares. Luckily, unlike hyena and civets, giraffes don't have to eat rotten things. They just eat leaves, and lots of it. There you can see the oxpeckers, the birds I mentioned. Big animals. I mean, he's not a massive bull, but he's a big bull. He would be weighing probably 1.5 tons. Put that into perspective for you. 1.5 tons would be 3,300 pounds or so. We are just around the corner from Buffelshoek Dam. So as the giraffe leaves, I think we can have a drive down and see. It's afternoon. The water holes are always good to check. Guys, if you can hear that voice in the background every so often, you will. Sometimes we know why and sometimes we don't. It's just one of those things of live. But that is information and the cogs of the wheel, the magic of what we do to get you on safari with us. And in a way, I quite like it when you can sometimes hear Nikki or Tara or the guys from the final control, because they are such a key part of this drive. Plus, they say the magic words, "You live, you live." I just love that. I'm sure you guys do too, because that's the minute when you step into the bush. Buffelshoek Dam, looks like there's nothing. Might just be a beautiful setting. Whoa, stunning waterbuck bull. Yeah, I'm just going to go back a little bit. No, I thought he was going to stay where he was. Yo, stunning light. I thought he was going to stick around for a bit, but it looks like he's also got somewhere to be. It's Monday after all, start of a week, lots to do. Whenever I see a waterbuck like that looking sort of at you, it reminds me of the fact that the emblem game reserve, Sandwildtuin, there we are, is the waterbuck. Let's have a look. As I said, I didn't immediately spot anything else. There's a bird down there, which many of you will know even from where you might be living anywhere in the world. It's a grey heron, also flying away. What's going on, guys? We come here in peace. And some buffalo. We'll have a look at them in a bit. Oh, he's just going to the other side, which coincidentally is the same reason why the chicken crossed the road. This heron would also be eating small catfish, other fish, frogs, insects. There you can see the big view of Buffelshoek Dam. The name of this dam, just out of interest, means Buffalo Corner if you translate it directly. And quite fitting, it is one of the best waterholes around here, meaning that when the waterholes get low, as they are now, Buffelshoek Dam, as you can see, still has a lot of water, obviously making for great viewing. And it would also mean that in summertime, which we're in now, very often you will have buffalo like this, taking it easy next to the water, in the water, halfway in the water, in the mud, depending on what they feel like. Quite tempted just to spend a bit of time here, watch the heron hunt, maybe the buffalo get up and go for a wallow, but it's just that time of day when anything can walk in here. So it'll be nice to answer a few questions, have a conversation about one or two things, and then see what else happens. That's a brilliant question, Terry. Asking if terrapins also sort of dig themselves into the mud the same way catfish do. Terry, as far as I know, yes. And I'll be honest with you, I know this happens. I've read about it and seen it happen to an extent, but how it actually works, I mean, it still blows my mind how they can just go into this sort of like hibernative state almost. I guess it's the same as animals in cold areas that just go into this like sort of Zen mode, if you want, where their systems almost, obviously not shut down, but go into this like minimal energy requirement. It's amazing if you think they can do that. Good place to be. Just while we looking at it, I'm going to go a little bit forward so we can see those buffalo better. Also, so we can look down the further end of this waterhole. Actually, let's watch that heron. He's really poised as if he might be trying to catch something. Now, watching a bird hunt, like any hunt, can take a few seconds, but it can take very long, so we'll give it a few seconds, but fascinating to watch them once that neck coils up like a spring. Incredibly fast when they strike. Also amazing to think that they compensate for the angle of the light changing through the water. Oh, watch this, guys. Stunning light. It looks like he's looking again. You can see the neck is not as coiled. Explosive speed being part of his hunting. And speaking of hunting, maybe the greatest of all bird hunters, and certainly the greatest of aerial hunters, and the biggest of the eagles, is what you're going to look at next.
everyone, from the fish-eating heron to the lizard-eating martial eagle, the Africa's heaviest eagle, a large bird of a wingspan probably extending almost 2 meters, and that is 6 feet and what is that, Brian? 6 feet 6. That's an incredible wingspan. And I say lizard eater because one of the things that they specialize in eating are rock monitor lizards. Now those are big lizards, formidable prey, lots of meat on them though, and that's what the martial eagle likes to eat. I'm going to sneak a little bit forward, just a little bit, and see if he does. I hope he doesn't fly off. He might. A huge bird, and they also eat. I have seen these things eat baby impala. I've seen them take very small impala as a pair. So I mean, they are huge. You're possibly not getting the perspective of his size from that, but imagine a person that you know of that is 6'6" in height, or 2 meters, and imagine them sort of spread-eagled over the back of that bird. Beautiful, beautiful bird. Bright yellow eye, and of course the true eagles are feathered all the way to the feet, and they come from the genus Aquila mainly. Oh, look at that, he's being bombed by a little fork-tailed drongo. That drongo is minute in comparison and totally unafraid of the most terrifying avian predator in the lowveld. The drongo is an extremely aggressive little bird, and he's now sitting there. Watch him come, he's going to come down, bomb. And I think as the eagle lifted his head, what you could see was that his crop was full. Now the crop is a sort of throat pouch where they do store some food as it's being digested. Now I'm looking with my binoculars now, might be a little bit full. So they do eat young impala. As I was saying, Aquila is the genus that he comes from, and they are characterized by legs that are feathered all the way to the feet. So something like a snake eagle, a brown snake eagle, or a black-breasted snake eagle, or a battalier, although they are sort of eagles, I guess, they're not true eagles. They don't have their legs feathered all the way to the feet. Let me sneak slightly forward again. I have to go down this road anyway, and we'll just see if we can't make him stay. He's sitting there beautifully poised in the setting African sun, which is just turning that lovely golden colour of the evening. Yeah, well, that's quite nice. There he is, he's still sitting there. How's that, Brian?
That's good.
That's amazing. Normally they just fly off, you know, you don't get anything like this close to them. There you can see the spotting, his sort of chocolate spots on his chest. And you'll also be able to see his yellow eye, possibly from here. And you can see his little crest which blows up in the wind. He's enjoying a bit of a breeze coming out of the west there. You can see there he's looking almost over the back, over his shoulder. Now, many birds can do that. It's not just owls. Owls characteristically are thought of as being able to turn their heads 180 degrees. Many birds are able to do that. And I believe that apart from the fact that they are very supple and have skinny, I mean, he's a lot skinnier than he actually looks because of the feathers on him. They are actually, they've got two sort of carotid arteries positioned such that when they turn their heads to the side, they don't stop blood flow to the brain. And that allows them to turn their heads a lot further to the side and back than other birds or than other animals might be able to, certainly further than we can. What you will see also is that, I don't know if you saw that very subtle head movement that he made. Very important thing, that bird, there, you see that? What he's doing there is judging distance. Now they have binocular vision, like us. Well, I don't personally have binocular vision, but the rest of the world does, bar the few of us, which I'll explain a bit later. And binocular vision allows you to be able to judge distance very well. And of course, if you're coming plummeting into the earth at 100 miles an hour and you smash into something, you really need to know exactly the distance that it is from you. And so when they when they move their heads like that, what they're doing is just helping that binocular vision, helping judge distance to whatever it is they're looking at. Right, from the most enormous avian predator out here, we're going to go to the most enormous land mammal on all the earth, with the, well, a semi-large human being standing with them, and that is the...
Welcome back on the Sunset Walking Safari. We came up to quarantine to do some wildflowers, and this spectacular sight came into view. The sun setting, a little breeding herd of elephants, and they're completely unaware we're here. We're probably about 80, 90 meters away. You can see the wind, absolutely perfect, going away from me. We're far enough away that I can speak normally. I don't have to whisper. So when you go looking for wildflowers, you seem to find elephants. This is really special to be able to sit here and watch these enormous animals on foot, and without them knowing we're here, they just carry on with their business. It's an absolutely spectacular sunset safari walk. I could honestly sit here all day and just watch them. So we're really nice and safe where we are. We've got a huge amount of distance between us. And as I showed, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see, but I've got an ash bag here, and the wind disappearing off to the south. The elephants are to the west of us. They can't smell us. Also, quite often it helps to be in these big open areas. The animals feel quite safe. They've got a lot of escape routes. We've got to remember, we are the dominant diurnal predator. So even animals like elephants and buffalo and lion, during the daylight hours, treat us with quite a bit of respect, and would 99% of the time choose to move away from us rather than towards us. It's when you're in thick confined bush that it can be a little bit more serious. But again, that's the one thing. I've been walking elephants on foot. The first time I walked elephants on foot, it's one of my first memories. I must have been about 2 years old in Botswana. But after that, my dad started taking me walking into elephants and rhinos and buffaloes and other big game on foot from about 5 or 6 years old. So I've been doing this for quite a long time. And I'm quite sure the eddies can hear me. And again, same as in the vehicle, keeping my voice nice and calm. And I saw her open her ears there. She could definitely hear me, but she's going to continue feeding. We're not going to go any closer. There's no point. It's so magnificent from where we are. So I'm going to get Jean-Ray to zoom into those eddies a little bit, and so you can have a nice final look. Isn't it absolutely magical? We're going to send you back to Peter, who's on the vehicle, and we're going to continue on.
Well, welcome back this side. The heron has caught one little fish while you were away, but what an amazing view. I must say I was a little bit envious that I couldn't join you for that marshal. To see a marshal eagle like that is very, very special. They're beautiful birds. To put it into perspective for you, I'm sure James explained to you in many, many ways, but if that marshal eagle was sitting here, his head, let me see if we can actually fit that in for you. If he was sitting on the dashboard, his head would be there. So I would be having my face in his chest where that full crop was. So they're very, very, very big birds. Their wingspan is 2 meters. I mean, it's like this much wider than the width of my hands. It's an incredibly beautiful bird, and to see them that close must have been a real pleasure. Fantastic light and quarantine. VM behind camera this afternoon, and myself, we were just sitting here wishing how beautiful this is. Just look at this dam. It is stunning. The light is dropping down now. It's late afternoon. It is just so peaceful and so refreshing just to sit next to the water and listen to the bush and watch and see the sights. Same as Brent and them sitting with the elephant. And James at the moment, I know, is not as peaceful and tranquil as we are. He's on his way somewhere, which I can't promise you too much because it might not happen, but it's just a report of something that might be heading our way. So potentially James might have some interesting things for us in a little while, but let's see what happens. As I said, I'm preempting it actually too early. What do you see there? Wow, well spotted. What is that? Oxpeckers. Some birds flying away there. These buffalo aren't doing too much. I think they've had a good day of grazing, and now being lazy is good. I wonder what. Yeah, keep watching the buffalo because the oxpeckers are going to fly down to them. Those birds that. No. They're not oxpeckers. I thought they might come and land on the buffalo. Had quite a few people saying hello from Boston today. Beth, nice to hear from you. Beth is just asking if this is a man-made waterhole. Yes, it is. And very correct, Beth, in Kruger, but keep in mind Kruger is a very, very large area, and they've got permanent rivers and systems like that, so they've got different aspects to consider. They have gotten rid of many, and over time we'll probably get rid of almost all the other waterholes they have other than the natural rivers running through it. But in this area, because of the high density of game and for the benefit of game viewing, it's good to have waterholes like this. Purposek Dam is an old waterhole. I mean, I don't even know when it was made. I'll have to ask Guri, but I would guess 30, 40 years ago, if not longer. So over that time, it settles in where it becomes a totally natural waterhole. I mean, there's a wall. In fact, we're sitting on it, but many people might not even notice it if they were to walk past here. So it is man-made, but it is man-made so long ago that it really has just become a part of these surroundings for these animals, and a very important part for them, obviously, to get water, for us, obviously, because we get to see them. A little bit tempted to move along, but as I said, James is heading somewhere. The guys on the walk are looking around. Maybe those elephants do something. I'm not sure what Hayden is up to in the safari tent. As much as I'm tempted to move along, I'm also quite happy just to sit here for a bit more. It's just such a lovely setting. And it feels like something might arrive, you know, so it'll be nice to be here for it. Hello, Judith. Judith is asking about the giraffe earlier. Judith is from North Carolina. If I'm understanding your question correctly, has a giraffe ever threatened me while driving around? And I don't mean threaten like sort of walk over and say, listen, I'm going to take your car keys, but in the sense of, you know, physically dangerous. No, I've never had that. Giraffes aren't aggressive animals generally. However, in certain conditions, because they are so big, they might be a threat to you without them planning it. And I know I can tell you a practical story about this. A very, very close friend of mine, Gus van Dijk, awesome guy, knows more about wildlife than most people put together, and a really nice guy as well. But he worked in various aspects of wildlife, and they were doing a lot of game capture. And I'll try and keep this short because the long story is also really funny. But they were catching giraffe, I think it was in Pindar somewhere, I can't remember, one of the game reserves, and he was helping with that. And in the process, he was driving along, and he was working for the Animal Research Institute at that time. The giraffe were running, And you know, in the sort of action of what they were doing and herding them towards a boma to sort of funnel them into like a corral or a corral, as you guys would call it, the one giraffe ran over and stepped on his bonnet. That's what we call a hood, the cover of the engine. And now keep in mind, even this Land Rover weighs about 2 tons. A giraffe weighs about 1.5 tons, 3,500 pounds, and that weight totally sort of bent the bonnet in, crashed the whole thing, popped the lights out the front. The vehicle still worked, but it was obviously really badly damaged. He then phoned the insurance company and said, listen guys, this is what happened. And he says he literally could hear the person answering the phone. This is back in the sort of mid-90s. You could literally hear the guy sort of cover the phone and telling his friends in the office what happened, and everyone laughing. You know, giraffe ran into my car. So that happened. The car was replaced. They went on different. 2.5 weeks later, less than 3 weeks later, similar kind of thing. They in the reserve, busy working on Rhino, driving along, lots of things happening. A Rhino comes into the side, boom, into the side of his vehicle, full tilt, moves the vehicle, dents the whole thing in. He's fine. The Rhino just runs off. I mean, for the Rhino, it's nothing. So less than 3 weeks later, he phones the insurance company again. Knowing Gus, he probably asked for the same guy. He's got a good memory and a wicked sense of humor. He asked for the same. He said, listen, this is what happened to my car. Rhino ran into it. And the guy at first didn't believe him. He told the guys again. Everyone cracked themselves, thought, no, this guy's just trying to be funny. So sometimes things can be dangerous to you without them being dangerous. The same as, a wall. If you drive into it, perhaps it's dangerous. But giraffes not really aggressive animals. If you're busy trying to catch it like a lion and they're kicking at you, that can be quite dangerous. But otherwise, not really anything to be worrying about. I'm so hoping something surprises us here. If nothing does, it's fine. But it just feels like it might happen. Oh, I wish we could show you some catfish, Matthew. And as always, I like to really welcome young people on the vehicle. Matthew is 9. You'll be 10 next year, Matthew. That's getting really big. And Matthew's just asking if there are any eels in the water. Just look at that beautiful picture. VM, I'm liking this lovely view. Looking through the new leaves of summer, the sun that's busy setting. Lots of depth there.